taxi mom is still there, and I was saying to Steve, what's that all about? He says, oh no, he's waiting there until, until the show's over, and then we're going back with him. And I'm going, you booked the black taxi to take us for an hour and a half journey, wait for 2 hours, or maybe even three, and then take us for. And he went, well, it's Peter's birthday sort of thing, and Margaret, she organised it, and I was going, well, fair play. I mean, we did everything, I think, except actually meet Robbie Williams, and I think actually Robbie Williams was there, ready to be met. Only Steve wanted to get a photograph with all us. And I missed out on meeting Robbie. He went off in a helicopter. But even on the way back in the taxi, Steve was he would say to me, "Who's your favorite singer?" I had a couple of drinks in me and stuff at this stage, so did he and whatever. And I went, you know what? I said I love David Coverdale, and I love Ronnie James Dio, and I love Jeff Tate, and rhymed off a few others. I says, but Glenn Hughes is probably the singer that I admire the most, because he's got every range under the sun. You can go from the low right up to high. And in actual fact, when Jeff Tate hits big high notes, I try to emulate them, and I can get there. But there's a song that Glenn Hughes sings called "The First Step," and he does these high notes towards the end of the chorus, and I can't reach them. And I never will be able to reach them. So in that respect, it's respect. And Steve went, right, no problem. And little did I know, because I was wondering what he was doing, and he had his phone by his side, and he went, "Hello, Glenn. There's a guy here who wants to speak to you." And just handed me the phone, and it was Glenn Hughes on the phone. And I'm going, "Hello, Glenn." And I had to think quickly on my feet, sort of thing, and just say, "Oh yeah, I'm with Steve. We're at a concert, and and sort of try to not be all, starstruck." But it's just the sort of thing that and I had a nice conversation with Glenn, and then we ended up meeting again a few weeks later at something else that Steve had invited me over to London for. But that was you just didn't know at any given stage, what was going to happen. So then, a week later, I was meant to go over for another Fastway rehearsal, and I didn't hear from Steve for a few days, and that was unusual because it was like every day, day, morning, evening, we're doing this, we've got this festival, and then we might go on that tour, and I've got these dressmakers, and we're going off on a private jet, and we're going to do these 2 gigs in the one day, but we'll have to do like Nebworth in the afternoon, and then we're going to fly to France to do another show that night. You know what I mean? I mean, for me, I'm sort of like going, but I got used to it by this stage, because I'd been over and met Eddie, and I'd been in the Stars, but I was believing in my heart that that this was me going to be eventually elevated, But then, as I say, I hadn't spoken to him for a few days, and then I was at my mum's house, and then I saw a call from him, and I said to my mum and Margaret, I'm going to take this call. It's Steve, maybe he's going to arrange, a time for me to be over in London. And he went, "Hey, Harv," and I went, "Hey, Steve, haven't heard from you for a while." I says, "Is everything okay?" And he went, "Ah," and I went, "Oh dear, what's wrong?" And he said, Eddie and John, they want to try someone else, for the Fastway singer. And I'm going, well, don't be all down the dumps about it, I mean, I'm your friend, you can tell me, if it's Eddie and John that's, decided this, and you're just basically the messenger, so I'm not going to shoot you, sort of thing. And by the end of the conversation, it was like, Steve, you and me are still friends, and you're still going to look after Storm Zone, even if I'm not part of Fastway, and everything was great. But then I got a call next day from Fast Eddie to apologise for the way things turned out, and it wasn't actually his idea. And I was going, but Eddie, Steve, and he went, no, he says, I loved your voice, and you'd lowered your tone, and did this. He said, anything that was being done towards making it work, you were doing the work. He says, and you and I will work together in the future. I can guarantee you that. And it turned out anyway that I think, well, I'm not going to go into it, but anyway, there was another singer was introduced, and it was someone else in the band who had decided that he wanted this guy in place, who ended up being the guy who ended up being long term. There was another singer was introduced, and it was someone else in the band who had decided that he wanted this guy in place, who ended up being the guy who ended up being long term in Fastway anyway, until Eddie's untimely passing. But that's when it hit me, sort of thing. I think it was that night, and the next night, it was like lovely weather, and I was sitting out the back with Margaret, having a beer on a Saturday afternoon, and looking at the phone and whatever. And it was the day that Sweden Rock was supposed to be on, and then the following Saturday was and then the following Saturday was the day where we're supposed to be doing the two in the one day with and all of a sudden things got to me, and I was going, and I started to feel disappointment, and then not myself, sort of thing, and I do believe that was like the sort of the roots of what ended up a few years later sort of rising up the sort of takeover, where the anxiety and panic attacks and stuff are working. So I think I suppressed them successfully for a long time, and then I just sort of opened the valve, a couple of years later, and then everything's sort of just went. And then that's whenever I realised that I needed help, for it. But I mean, I don't blame anybody, in any way. It certainly it wasn't anybody's fault, it was just circumstances, sort of thing. But and I know that it's happened to other singers. I know the Ripper Owens and Ralph Seepers, when they were